it looks like the celery has been drinking my water for me. My water that had food coloring in it. Don't ask me how the food coloring got there, but it did. And now, let's see what it did to our celery stick. All right. So celery, everyone knows, typically green. But if you look at this, now it is red, right? So the celery was drinking all of my water and has now changed the color of the celery stick. Well, because the water goes up through the plant rather than just on it, not only is it red at the base, if you can see, it has now gotten red all throughout the plant, right? It even got red on the other end. That's how you know that it was drinking a lot of water, because it even got red on the opposite end. This didn't even touch the water. The only part that was in the water was right here. All right. So now, exactly, Jerry, you're right. So the water was being drank by our celery stick. Okay. So let's take a look. I know it's kind of maybe a little hard to see my actual experiment. So let's take a look at what happens with the real experiment. All right. So yeah, share, bang, bang. All right. So here's what it looks like when you try to actually do the experiment, right? When you do it on purpose, you don't do it because you just want to eat celery at night, right? So you put a bunch of celery in a bunch of different water, right? And these are all different dyed food dyes. So we have red, we have a blue, we got an orange, we got a purple, and you let it sit there overnight. And what happens is, what happened here? Who would like to raise their hand and tell me what just happened here? When we think about what we just learned about the phloem and the xylem, or the xylem and the phloem, who can tell me what just happened? Joseph, go ahead.
I think that they grew in the ones on the side, the one that's orangish, it looks like it hasn't grown very much because it hasn't been sucking up as much water as the other two. Exactly. It looks like it's taking longer to grow for some reason. And my thing is, I think that it might not be, I think it might not have to drink more water, or it might not be able to drink more water. Okay? Because the middle one is growing fine and it looks very normal. But as you can see, the side ones are different colors for some reason.
She'll come back, don't worry.
That makes me think that the color of the water changes the way that the color of the plant is. But the middle one has blue water, and I see only a little piece of blue at the top part. And the rest of it's all green and growing.
Thank you, Joseph. Thank you. So Joseph is exactly right? So you can see that because it was able to absorb more water, especially the ones on the outside, the color is deeper in the ones that are on the outside, or the ones that have absorbed more water, right? So Joseph said that he didn't think that the middle one absorbed as much water, but it actually did. It's just how it happens that it's because it's blue that the color kind of blends in a little bit. But if you notice it from the beginning, it's a lot. This one, the color is a lot deeper blue than it is here, than the green it is here. Okay, so you can see it's a little more blue. That's a lot more red. That's a lot more orange, right? So it helped it grow, and it also grew with the coloring, right? So why did this happen? Because like Joseph said, the water traveled up the plant. So this is how water moves in mostly all plants. Water moves up, and it moves up through what? What are we talking about? What does water move up through? Somebody go ahead and unmute yourself and just tell me. Or no, you can't unmute yourself, can you? No bad. Raise your hand, and so I can see. Let's see. Get some new hands. We'll call on the same people. Sean, what is water? How does water move up? What vessel or what part of the vascular system does the water move up through? Sean, you have to know. It's in your notes. Egypt, can you help her out? You done. Okay. Sorry about that. Cody, how about you help us out? What part of the vascular system does the water travel through?
Water, water transport in the plant through the combined efforts.
Okay, but what specific organ or tissues does the water travel through? Is it the xylem or the phylum? Serenity, you want to help him out, Serenity?
The phylum.
Serenity Green. Can you help him out? Anari, can you help us out? Come on, everybody. We should be writing our notes. We wrote this down. Thank you, Christian and Sean in the chat. This is the xylem. So the xylem is where the water comes through. All right, come on. We need to make sure we have these. All right, we just talked about this. So again, if you don't have this, water moves up through the xylem. All right. So I'm going to play a quick video that is going to kind of explain exactly what happened in our video, in our experiment. All right. So I want everybody, again, if you do not have these notes, please make sure you're writing these down so that way we don't have to keep going back and forth over it. Okay.
And move through the stalk.
We saw the actual pieces of celery. So can I have you guys have 5 minutes in your notebooks. Can you please draw and illustrate what the xylem inside of the celery stick, or what it looks like inside the celery stick, and explain what the water is doing through that plant, okay? So you have 5 minutes to draw in your notebooks the xylem inside of the celery stick, and also explain what the water is doing through the plant. All right, so 5 minutes. So that means at 2:55 or 2:54, I'm sorry, we will be going over, I'll be calling a few brave volunteers to share their image that they drew, all right? So you're drawing the celery plant with the xylem, and you're going to be explaining what it does. I love how Kavion's writing. 3, 2, 1, and 0. Great job. So I love how a lot of us are working on those videos and are working on those pictures, and I'm doing a great job with the artwork. I'm really interested to see how well your pictures came out, because a lot of, like I said, last class we saw some really great pictures. So can I have a volunteer raise their hand and share with the rest of the class their xylem picture and explain what is happening in the picture? Looking for some hands. Go ahead, Zanaya, go ahead.
Okay, so in my diagram picture, I have the celery stick, like the inside of the celery stick, and basically the water is going through, like, by the arrows. The water is going up in the celery stick, and it's making the color of the celery stick changes to a different color.
Great job. Thank you so much. So who would like to tell me where exactly is that water going through that? What part of the vascular system of the plant is the water going through? So who wants to show me their picture and tell me what part is going through? Who else wants to show a picture? Come on. Who's showing their pictures? Seeing some hands. Marshall, go ahead, Marshall.
The water in my diagram is going up through the xylem.
Absolutely, it's going up through the xylem, because that's how water goes into the plant's vascular system. Can you show us your diagram, or are you not done? Perfect. That's a perfect picture, right? So great job with that. And I saw a lot of other pictures. I saw a lot of us who held up their pictures. Some great jobs. All right. So with the little bit of time that we do have left, I'm going to go back to sharing my screen. And I'm really happy with how you guys are able to see this. I'll draw those pictures. You guys did a great job with that. So here's what it looks like on the inside, right? So if you take a look, the xylem is a long tissue that goes all the way up through the plant, or all the way up through the celery. So if you can see here, this one was actually held in maybe some red dye or some red water. And then we have the other one that was held in some blue water. And you can see that when you open up the celery stick, this is what it actually looks like. It'll stain it all the way through because the water is being pulled all the way to the top. All right. And another example is from the bottom that you guys drew, a lot of diagrams that I saw, where the xylem tubes are for transporting the water, right? So you can see that those xylem tubes were right on the bottom. So if we take a look back at my celery stick, well, if we go back and look at my celery stick, we can see that here is hold on, let me go back to the wrong speaker view. Got you. So here you can see that we have it, the little tubes are right here, right? So these are where the xylem tubes are for where the water is going inside of our plant, all right? Back to a lot of flipping back and forth. But with that being said, now that we understand that the water is brought up and we know that the tissues bring that water up, I have a question for you guys, all right? So for our exit ticket, I would like for you guys to go into Google Classroom and answer this question for me. If gravity exists, which we know that gravity is the forces that bring us down or bring things back down to Earth, if it does exist, how does water and minerals move up through plants?